Welcome to part 2 of completing our puzzle. The next thing that I'm going to do, as I showed in the video previous, is to bring up the puzzle that says complete puzzle so that I know the design that needs to be on my specific piece. Since I know this is my piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the snipping tool, which is over here under my Windows menu. I'm going to make sure that it is on new. My screen is a little dark. I have a little plus sign. I'm going to come very close to my puzzle piece, enough to where I can get the entire puzzle piece. And I'm going to click and drag to make that copy it. I'm going to hit Control C. I'm going to come over into my Inkscape document. Make sure you have this selected, the little select tool. Click on it and hit Control and V to paste it in. Now what you'll notice is this isn't going to be very helpful if I can't see my actual puzzle piece. And I want to make sure that I can distinguish this puzzle piece from this one, so there's a couple of different things I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to combine my entire puzzle piece together. Since I drew it in sections, I have different sections that are going to come apart. So I'm going to click, I'm going to drag to select the whole thing. I'm going to come up here to Path, and I'm going to combine my entire puzzle piece. Once I do that, if I move part of my puzzle piece, the whole thing is going to move rather than just one segment. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to outline this puzzle piece in a different color than is used in this one so that I can make a distinction between the two. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Shift, and on my color bar I'm going to click a color that is not in this puzzle piece. So I'm going to go with a little bit darker color, but I'm going to make it red. Now that it's red, I'm going to be able to tell whenever I'm looking at this puzzle piece compared to this one. Now the next problem is this one is over top of my puzzle piece and I can't see through it. So I'm going to take, once this is selected, I'm going to move this down by going to Object and lower to the bottom. What that's going to do is it's going to bring this puzzle piece that I have to the top and bring this one to the bottom. Please make sure you have this puzzle piece selected when you're doing this. This puzzle piece is the one that I need to change the size of to match up, because this puzzle piece that I created is perfect to scale. So if I move it, then it's going to change how big it is, and I don't want to do that. So now I'm going to drag this. I'm going to turn my snap grid off because it's going to snap to places that I potentially do not want it to snap to. I'm going to drag it until that it's the exact size of my puzzle piece. So right now I have the width good. You'll notice this doesn't match up. That's because I haven't drug the height down. Okay. And I haven't drug it up. Now, if your puzzle piece does not meet the other one exactly, and you've got, say, this line's over here, you need to go back and recount on your original puzzle piece, because it should fit very nicely inside because it's an exact replica. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this piece onto my puzzle piece. If I tried to do trace to bitmap, I'm going to get all of this image, including this and the puzzle piece behind it. I do not want to do that because I'm going to get a lot of lines that I don't really need, and it's not going to make for very nice laser cutting. So I am going to come over here and I'm going to be using either this tool or this tool. This tool is fantastic for making a straight line. So if you have something like the east side where I'm doing the eye, I would want to use the pencil tool so that I could click, 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 click. That's going to be perfect. But when I want to do some curves like are in this right here, I'm going to be using this tool underneath, and I want to make sure that up here that I'm clicking on the one that looks like a curve, because I can follow the curve around very nicely using that tool. So next I'm going to come to one of the spots that I need to trace, and I'm going to just trace an outside line. I don't want to trace the double line around it, just an outline. So I'm going to start over here on this corner, and I'm just going to click, and I'm going to follow this line around, clicking every time I need to make a point. When I get over here and I've made my last click, see how I'm dragging this around? I need to make a right click so that it actually draws the line in. I'm going to finish up this circle on the soccer ball. And then what I'm going to do, since these are fairly straight, I'm going to use my pencil tool to go around those so that it looks a little cleaner. If you connect it to another point, when you click that, it will draw your line automatically. With the pencil tool, you do not have to use that right-clicking function. It will automatically draw the line for you. Okay, let's say I mess up and I put something like this. You can either delete that, or if you make a really big mess, okay, you can actually select that and you can delete it, or you can hit Edit Undo to get back to where you have something very nicely drawn. Once I do that, I need to come over here to my volleyball. I do have one straight line here. The rest are pretty curved, so I'm going to draw in that one straight line, and then with the rest of it, I'm going to use the other tool. Make sure this is clicked, and I'm just going to follow it around. Okay, now to see if I have what I need on here, I am going to remove my picture. I'm going to come to the select tool. I'm going to click up here where it would get rid of that picture on my keyboard. I'm going to hit delete. If I see something that I don't think looks quite right, then I can always go edit, undo. And like right here, I didn't have anything. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to put that line in. If you forgot a whole section, like I also forgot this section here. So I'm going to put that section in. And I'm going to check to see, I can either move it away and I can say, does it look fairly similar? Parts like this, if I feel like they need to be connected a little better, then I can move them around how I need to now that my photo is off of the picture. Once I'm fairly happy with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. I'm going to come up here to File. I'm going to save it as. For laser cutting, I would turn it into a DXF. If something goes wrong and you need to bring it back up to modify it because maybe the puzzle piece wasn't exactly the size you thought it was going to be, you needed to change a corner or something, it's better to save it as an SVG because that's going to save your document properties, whereas if I save it as a DXF, it's not. So I'm going to save it both ways because I do want it laser cut. I'm going to name it puzzle piece. And since this is F5, I'm just going to call it puzzle piece F5. And then I'm going to hit save. It's as a SVG. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to do this again, except for this time I'm going to come down to desktop cutting plotter, which is for my laser cutting. I'm going to hit save. This base unit is the only thing you have to change, and you have to make sure it says MM. You hit OK. Now you're ready to go into Google Classroom and attach your piece.